My story takes place starting in 2013. We've been in this apartment for less than a year. My son was 5 years old. He's 16 now. It always seemed like he would have night terrors. He would start crying in his sleep, making weird noises. We would just hear him whimpering. We really didn't know what was going on. It started getting a little bit more intense. He started screaming and yelling. This would always happen between 11:30 and 12 o'clock when I would be getting ready to go to bed. We would go in the room. His body would be straight. It looked like somebody pulled his legs. His feet would go flat and his hands would be to his side. But he was still sleeping and he would be screaming. The screaming would last for about 5 minutes. And we lived in an apartment building complex, so I always thought that people would think that we were doing something to my son and he was screaming. After that, he would always yawn and turn right back around and sleep peacefully for the rest of the night. We were dealing with this for about 2 months. His doctor told me that it was probably him getting into his REM sleep stage and that we should let him rest and not look at TV or anything for at least 30 to 45 minutes before bed so that he can settle down. Then it just never stopped. One night I was walking past his room. It was completely dark in there. He had a little night light that was behind his dresser, so it kind of illuminated the walls. It wasn't enough to be super bright. When I was walking toward the room because I heard him whining, I saw some figure standing over by his bed. In a panic, I turned on the light, but it was nothing there. I definitely saw a figure standing next to his bed while he was starting the whining stage. Time has gone by now. I'm in my room and I hear like lullaby music. Like I said, I lived in an apartment complex, so I thought maybe it was coming from the other apartment. I turned the TV down, and when I was starting to walk towards his room, I saw a dark figure move from the side of his bed over to the dresser. The lullaby music stopped. Now, I knew that I wasn't seeing things this time, so I just went in there, I snatched him out of his room, and I went back in my room and we waited for my husband to come home because it was just me and my son in the house. We were in the living room one day watching TV. I heard the toilet seat slam down. No one else was in the house. We were all in the front. I went back over to the bathroom and said, oh, maybe the toilet seat just fell. When I went back there, the toilet seat was actually still up. It never fell down. But you can hear the noise that it slammed shut. So now I just started being freaked out in my house. I didn't want to say anything to my family. The only person that knew about it was my husband at the time. And then we had a cat, so I kind of kept saying that, oh, maybe the cat went by and I saw the shadow of the cat, or that maybe he was in the bathroom and he hit the toilet seat. So I kept trying to make sense of it myself. It wasn't until one evening everybody was in their rooms, I went to go take a bath. I was in the bathtub. I decided to lay back, relax. I put my cloth over my face and I was just laying there. And it sounded as though someone opened the bathroom door. I took it off thinking it was my husband or my son coming in the room, but it was no one there. I closed my eyes and just laid back. Out of nowhere, it felt like someone smacked me in my face. I felt a handprint, the burning sensation. I jumped up out of the bathroom, ran out of there, went to go tell my husband, and was like, okay, that's it. At that time, my son started screaming and had another night terror. While I'm panicking, trying to talk to my husband, he starts screaming, and we had to rush into his room, and it was just one of his regular screaming night terrors, but this one got a little bit more intense. It lasted way longer, and I thought he was actually going into a seizure, so we called 911 and had them come out. By the time they got there, of course, my son is fast asleep, and then they had to wake him up to make sure he was okay. He's just looking at us like, why are you waking me up? What's going on? They left, they cleared him, everything was fine. It was a few days later after that, I decided to ask my son, do you remember any of these dreams that you're having at night, why you're screaming or anything? And he said no. He doesn't remember any nightmares, or he wasn't scared when he went to sleep, or he didn't think of anything scary. I would never forget those words that came out of my 5-year-old's mouth. He just came out and said, oh, I talked to the man on the moon. I talk to him sometimes when I go to bed. I asked him, who is the man on the moon? And he said, he tells me to do bad things, but I don't want to. And I'm always yelling at him to leave me alone. Sometimes when he gets mad, he sets everything on fire and he scratches me with a fork on my thumb. I asked him, what does the man on the moon look like? What is he doing? And he said, oh, he's very big. He's very red. He has a big fork. And he kept saying he scratches my thumb with it when I tell him no. I said, well, does he ever grab you or catch you or anything? And he said, no, if I say no, he just stabs me with the fork. The next day, I told my mom, I started telling her everything that was going on. My mom always believes in the Bible, and she believes that there are spirits and that there are angels and demons walking around. So that's why I was happy that I was able to talk to her. We went to church that Sunday and we talked to my priest, and I explained to him night terrors. I told the doctor, they kept saying that children have active imaginations. But I just felt that it was something else going on because of all the other things that was happening around. The priest, he said that my son had a bright aura around him, like he's very protected, and maybe that's why the dreams come and is trying to break that aura, but it can't get through. So he gave us holy water. He gave us Bible verses that we should recite before he goes to bed when he's saying his prayers. He told us to leave the Bible open on a certain page so we could have that verse after we say it. I was supposed to cross him with holy water, and then we would put a rosary that he gave us under his pillow. Now, my son is still 5, so he was really excited about putting the rosary under his pillow. He wants to go to bed and say prayers. The next day, I came into his room, and the pages were turned on the Bible. I asked my husband, did you touch the Bible? Did you change it? He said no. Then while I was making up his bed, I went to go look for his rosary. I couldn't find the rosary. I asked him, did he take the rosary out at night? Did he wake up? Was he scared or anything? He said no. I was looking all over the floor, and then I found the rosary under his bed behind the headboard. Not where he can push it, because he had a toddler bed, so there was no gaps where it would just fall through. Someone had to physically take that rosary and put it under the bed for it to be there. I started panicking about that. I told my mom what was going on again. She said, well, just continue to keep doing it. Every night we would read the Bible verse. We would do the holy water. A month after that, the night terrors completely stopped. I ended up having another baby. We decided it was time to move. I started freaking out because the place that we were moving to is kind of behind the cemetery. There's a house in between us and the cemetery. All of those memories started coming back. We ended up moving in December of 2015. My second son was born January 11th. We were in our new apartment. I started having these strange noises in my house. One night I'm in my room, and I heard the same lullaby song that I heard those many years ago. And I turned on the TV, and I thought, I must be losing my mind. I'm paranoid. I went towards the room again. I saw a black figure dart from his crib, and the noise stopped. I'm thinking now, the cemetery behind me, the past, everything is coming back into play. I start telling my husband I need to go back to the priest. I need to tell him what's going on. Maybe a week after that, I'm laying in my room, and I could not get to sleep because it felt like someone was staring at me from my hallway. I was turning around, and I opened my eyes, and next to my dresser, I saw that black figure that I've seen multiple times. This time it did not vanish. I was staring at it while I was trying to move and tap my husband and let him know that something's there. It flew toward me. The only thing that I could do at that moment was flip over my husband because it lunged toward me so fast. I didn't know what else to do. I ended up flipping over my husband and fell off on the other side of the bed. When he woke up and was asking me what was wrong, I explained to him what was going on. That black figure that I keep seeing randomly, it's back and it's trying to attack me. I was terrified. I said I was going to go back to the priest, let him know that this is happening all over again. We did the same thing. I had to take the baby to him. They got him baptized. And after that, that was it. Nothing else again. So I don't know if that black figure was trying to soothe the children or if it was something else. But I know it was the same figure that I saw when my first son was 5, and then again when my second son was born, and that's what lunged toward me. So I'm not sure if she was angry with me or someone who just wanted to be by children. But I would feel this presence in my home as if someone was always watching me. But I never saw the figure again after we went back and blessed the house, got holy water for here. Luckily, things have been much better. I did have another baby since, and those things have always crossed my mind. So my new baby is 2, but I've yet to see the black figure or hear any weird lullaby songs or feel as though someone's watching me. It was only with my 2 sons. I don't know if it's different because now I have a daughter. But whenever I think about what happened to my older son, who's now 16, it just gives me the chills, and I will never forget what he told me when he was 5 years old. I talked to the man on the moon.